This one right here, this girl, I mean, she really is embarrassing. Just a hot mess. Hot mess. And I really wish that we as Black people could get out of this damn mentality, because we was sore. This mentality that this girl has, you know, this victimhood mentality all the time. We gotta get out of this, because it's not getting us anywhere, and it sounds crazy.
How are you?
Hi. Yes. I don't know. Am I supposed to say my name or just? Okay.
Just let me start by saying a lot of these damn college kids are so weird. They're strange. And I feel like when he goes to these universities, it's getting better now, because more and more kids are waking up to the bullshit, and a lot more young people are leaving liberalism and the Democratic Party. But the ones that's still stuck in there, just listen to this mentality. I'm sorry.
Okay. My name is Gigi. I guess I'm mostly on the side of disagreeing, because I feel like I don't think that behind this presidency, I don't think that this country is headed towards a bright future. I don't think that under this presidency that we are going to stand united. I think that it is going to divide us even more, and that it is dividing us. And I also don't think
I'm trying to figure out how to divide it more when majority of the people voted in one way. You understand? So it's not divided.
that this presidency is built on a love of all people. I feel like whenever I hear Trump specifically talk.
Hello, I don't love all people. Who loves all people? There's all kind of people in this country that don't need to be loved. They're in prisons. That's a dumb statement. You don't have to like everybody, but you have to tolerate them if we're all going to be here together.
There are notions of not Black people specifically, but people of color being seen as murderers and rapists, and it's specifically targeted towards brown people. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, my question for you is, do you think this country, or do you think that Trump is going to do the American public right in the overall of his presidency?
Yes.
Okay. Are you worried about the state of this country under his presidency when it comes to economic setbacks, when it comes to another Great Depression, when it comes to stocks going down, et cetera, et cetera? Are you worried that he does not going to do anything like that?
I don't have those concerns. And by the way, inflation's going down, and the price of eggs is going down, everybody.
Yeah, sure did. Gas prices too.
But go ahead. I want you to thoroughly complete your argument, and then I'll say something.
Okay. I guess basically the point of my argument is, I think that President Trump, and I think that this country's view, especially when we're coming now into DEI and we're coming into defunding of Department of Education, we're coming to taking the Tuskegee Airmen.
She doesn't even realize that most of the money that the Department of Education gets does not go to educating anybody. And the kids I'm old enough to remember before the Department of Education. These schools stuff suck. The kids are dumb as hell. They don't think for themselves. The work they give the kids is freaking easy. They think they're smart and they're not smart. I tell my son all the time, these kids are not smart, in my opinion, son. I'm just telling you, I had my son late in life. So a lot of these parents are very young. The kids are not smart to me. I had a friend teaching a gifted and talented program, and she said the same thing, that she did not think the kids were smart. They're not smart. These college kids, they think that they're smart and they're not smart. I give my son work of my own. I don't feel they give enough homework. I feel like everything is different from when I went to school. I teach my son a lot of old school ways of doing things. And I feel like my son will know more words. He probably will read better, everything. I let him think for himself. I don't tell him how to think. If I don't agree with him, prove it. I tell my son all the time, if you have a good enough argument, I'll let you do whatever you're trying to do. You understand? This is crazy to me.
Out of being taught.
That has been reversed, just for the record.
Okay,
with
okay.
Tuskegee Airmen.
But there's been.
So she's making a point about the Tuskegee Airmen, and he's saying it's been reversed. How I feel about Black history, let me tell you something. I went to predominantly white schools. To me, when it came to history, the only thing I remember learning about was freaking slavery. And I remember sitting in class being the only Black person looking around like, damn, why do we have to have this discussion? It's like, I just feel like they're never going to show our history the way it should be taught. You understand? Why do you expect colonizers? Because that's what they are. We are colonized people. We're living in a colonized nation. Okay. Why do Black people think that these white people are going to teach your history the righteous way? Who cares? As long as my son can read, write, do math, play sports, that's all I need that school to do for me. I'll teach my child his own damn history. You understand? It doesn't make any sense. If they don't want to give any money to the Smithsonian for Black History Museum, why can't we raise money for that? Y'all raised $500,000 for Carmela Anthony. If you really want it that bad and you want a place for kids to learn about Black history, we can do it. To me, that makes no sense.
Multiple other things besides Tuskegee, but also the whole debate on critical race theory, teaching slavery in schools, teaching Black history, et cetera, et cetera.
First of all, American history is Black history. Just if you tell the accurate accounts of history, it'll be in there. You understand? Because if you separate Black history, white history, Indian history, I mean, what the frick are we going to learn? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn if they teach my son Black history in school. I'm Black. I'll teach it to him. I always tell people this story. I went to school with a lot of Jewish kids, and those kids went to Hebrew school after school every day and learned about their culture and their language and all that. If we don't like it that much, then why don't we make schools like that for our kids? If we're not going to do that, shut the fuck up. It irritates me to no end of how we're always acting like we're a victim in some type of situation when we're not.
These are things that are being targeted specifically when it took years and years to even get them in place. I think that this country is built on using the Bible, not even 100 years ago, to defame and to dehumanize Black people. There has been use of the Bible specifically when people used to come into the church and talk about how slaves should
listen, let me tell you something. I am somebody that studied many scriptures. I read lots of holy scriptures. I fellowship with all kinds of people. I thought I wanted to be a minister one day. I'm very familiar with the Bible and other scriptures. Now, people are always going to run with that slaves obey your master's scripture. However, it also says that the slave masters are not supposed to treat anybody enslaved in a terrible way. You're supposed to treat them in a righteous way and almost like, I guess, indentured servitude where, people work for you, they do their work or whatever. And, they're not supposed to treat you with any violence and stuff like that. In African culture, they don't even have a name for slavery, but they did have like indentured servitude and stuff like that. So, to me, it's context to me. You understand? And you're looking on something that was written thousands of years ago based on older scriptures out of Africa, okay? So you're going to take this one verse and ride with it and say, oh, I'm a victim for life. You understand? If you're not a Christian and don't subscribe to it, don't subscribe to it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in this country that are right in Congress, whatever, are not Christians. They're from India, Ethiopia, all over the world and stuff, creating policies in our country. I don't know what they're doing there or whatever, but, that's just not true today. Can we please come into 2025 and stop being crazy? There's nothing getting in our way but ourselves at this point. Because if our ancestors could come out of slavery and create Black Wall Street, what the fuck is wrong with Black people today? Okay, stop it.
Obey their masters and how that's what.
Listen, are you going to obey your master? Are you in slavery somewhere obeying a master? If not, then it's irrelevant. I don't see no black person in America that's going to obey their master. Who? What master? Can we focus on right now and stop living in the past and do some big shit to elevate our community and stop thinking like this?
The whole relationship between white and black people were. I think that this country specifically has a lot of racist rhetoric that is built in that is not being targeted. I think that.
So let's try to find
yes.
some common ground. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Can you give me a definition?
Native Americans had slaves too, and for some reason, it's just black and white people. Okay, because they had slaves too, and they didn't even want to give up their damn slaves when slavery was over, and nobody mentions them. Okay, so stop it. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Of racism.
Racism in terms of, I will say, okay, before I
use the term,
yes.
so I want to make sure
people use the word racist all the time, but most people are not racist. Most people are bigoted and they are prejudiced. They are not racist. They're not.
Talking about the same thing. Is that cool?
Yes, that's fair. I will say that I will state that I am biased because I will be speaking as a black person specifically from the United States of America, and not anywhere else. But I will say racism is a discrimination against people of a minority.
She doesn't even know.
That does not have a. Okay, what is racism?
She doesn't know.
Racism, without using the word.
Can't use the word racism.
Can't use the word. That's I'm trying.
To me, racism, and I always say Paul Mooney explained it the best. You can say I'm a murderer all day long, but if you don't kill anybody, you're not a murderer. Racism is the same thing. Racism, you're only a racist when you actually do some physical thing to somebody to harm them in some certain way. That's why I say the government are the racists. The Democratic Party have been racist against black people since slavery days. They didn't want us to get out of slavery. They did black codes, Jim Crow, all kinds of stuff to us. The Ku Klux Klan was the Democrats. You understand? When you kill somebody or beat up somebody because of their skin color, that's racism. Otherwise, you're just bigoted. You might be a white supremacist and all that, but you're not a racist until you act on it, till you create some kind of political policy, you beat somebody up or kill them because of their skin color. That's racist. That's racism. Everybody like, oh, you're a racist, you're a racist. Everybody uses that word so much. To me, the only racists that I see on the regular are the governments.
A discrimination against a minority class of people in order to create an unbalance in the society or a hierarchy based on something that is undetermined as of color, race, the color of your skin, or maybe even color of your skin. Shut up,
girl.
Can you be racist against Asians?
Yes.
Can you be racist against white people?
You have to think about that.
I believe that you can have prejudice against white people, but in the way that this country was built and the way that this country has been founded and the way that there are many.
I think you can be racist against anybody if you are harming them. Just like if a black person just randomly picks a white person off the street and kills them or beats them or whatever, that's racist. Because you just don't like them because they're white. I think black people can be very prejudiced and bigoted, but I just don't think we have power in this nation to really be racist. You know what I mean? Now I do feel like white people are being treated with a lot of racism because, a lot of these policies exclude white people, exclude white men, and people say, oh, well, they did it to us or whatever the case may be, but it's not these people today. And it's like we always living in the past. How is there ever going to be peace on earth today if people are worried about things that happened many, many years ago, decades, eons? You know what I mean? We can't get the past back. The only thing we can do is change the future. And we have to have these discussions and figure out a way where people do not feel like they're being treated with racism and everybody is treated fairly.
laws that have taken place, specific like where you were talking earlier with the whole reparations debate, there are many legacies of white people in this country that
Guys, just okay. Let's just all take a breath. Gigi's talking.
Which I also would like. I feel like that kind of comes into, yes, we're not all from this country. This is a country of immigrants. This is a country of people
So
from
let me
other
give you an
countries.
example.
Yes.
If a group of black individuals, which happens unfortunately so often, say, we want to go beat up whitey, and they go beat up a white person, was that a racist thing that they did?
I would say yes, and I have seen that where these black boys beat this white boy to death. I felt terrible for him, and I would feel terrible for anybody that would go through that. I don't think anybody should be murdered or beat up because of their race. Just like the other guy, you know, people can be, racist towards police. You know, that guy, you know, his son had a gun and they killed him, and, you know, he went and just killed another random police officer. You know, I feel that is racist too. You know, I feel like if you harm somebody because of their skin color, their political beliefs, I feel like that is all under the blanket of being a racist. And crazy. Because I don't see how any of these things that liberals are doing at this time is going to make America better and make relations among the people better. And one thing I like about this guy and people like him, I may not agree with him, even though I agree with him most of the time. I may not agree with everything he says, but he's willing to have the discussion, you know? And I feel like he just makes these people look so dumb. She didn't even know what she's talking about. She didn't even know what racism is.
I would have to ask for further context, but yes,
Even though
based off of that,
even though her whole debate is based in racism, but she didn't even know what it meant. So this is how crazy. This is what we're dealing with.
Cool.
Yes.
So, but then let's go back to your definition, because your
fair.
definition was that it had to be the exercise of power. I'm going to make your definition better for you,
That's
because
fair. That's
the
fair.
exercise of power against a minority group.
Yes.
But in that case, it wouldn't be, because it would be a group of black individuals versus a white individual.
Correct.
So wouldn't a better definition of racism be a human being or institution prejudicing or stereotyping against anybody else because of their race?
I do agree that is a better there's a better definition in terms of how racism is used in society, in terms of setting people behind not having equal amounts of opportunities in these institutions specifically.
She's just making me think of Damon Wayans on Living Color when he was like the hypothesis of the noun and nocius and the list of that la-di-da-di and whatever. He really wasn't saying shit. That's what this reminds me of. It's absurd.
Specifically colleges, jobs, et cetera, hospitals. But that is my point. I feel like in this country, we don't talk about enough. And I think that under this presidency,
Don't talk about what enough?
we don't talk about the history and the impact of long-term racism in this country against minorities.
Can I just press pause?
Yes.
That's all we've talked about the last 5 years. I mean, but hear me out. 1619 Project. We have entire black dedicated channels on Pluto and Hulu and Netflix. We have reoriented the entire national dialogue towards.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta listen, because this is what white people, especially men, feel like right now. You know, white people feel like this. The Asian people are tight too, because they feel like they're getting overlooked, even though their grades are better. And some of these DEI people are taking positions that they feel they should have gotten scholarships and stuff like that. You know, Indian people are saying it. I'm telling you, it's a problem.
We had the president of the United States, Joe Biden, take a knee for Black Lives Matter, to have racial reconciliation seminars, to have nonstop race obsession. So I think we've talked about it thoroughly and properly.
So do you think that black people in this country have equal opportunity and are treated equally as white
Absolutely.
people?
So let me prove it to you, okay? So Gigi and Charlie. What can Charlie do that Gigi can't do?
Okay, I don't know anything. I don't really know much about you. I don't know
Based
like
on the
what
law.
you're capable
No,
of.
no, no. Just on the law. What am I allowed to do on the law that you are not allowed to do on the law?
On paper, nothing.
That's equal opportunity and equal treatment, right? If you care about faith, family, and freedom, listen up. I'm proud to partner with.
He has his little commercial on here. I want to watch this through because
I'm America. I am an American. I am a Black American. I am a follower. I am a child of God. We all are. I 100% stand on that. But I think that basically what I'm trying to get at is I feel like in order for us to have these conversations and to keep having these conversations, we need to have a specific platform that we're able to meet each other on the common consciousness of this society. And I don't think we can have these conversations if we do not understand that Black people specifically, because I really can't talk about Asians. I'm not Asian. I can't talk about other people.
She can't even talk about Black people because she's uninformed, even as far as Black people
of color. But Black people in this country specifically have never had the opportunities to bring themselves back up. When you're talking about the destroyment of the Black family, that also came with a big chunk of the Reagan administration, which was forever and whatever ago.
How is it the government's fault of why dads aren't around?
I mean, we could get into the whole like the rhetoric.
And I kind of agree with that. I don't care what government policies they make. There should be nothing stopping a father from being with his child. There should be nothing from a mother being with her child. Now we can say crack and all these different things, but you have a choice to use drugs and not use drugs. You understand? And it's like we have to take responsibility for the dumb shit we be doing. You understand? I don't care what they say about racism in America. Your odds of being killed are by another Black person. We kill our babies more than anybody on the planet. That's the leading cause of death is abortion for Black people, for Black children. And they got, they're building all kind of fertility clinics for white people and giving them incentives to have kids. Meanwhile, we killing ours. Make it make sense. We have to take responsibility for the dumb shit that we do to ourselves. Okay? And even if we thought that white people were the wickedest people on the planet and they're doing everything to hurt us, that's even more reason why we should be more united and stop the people in our community from doing the dumb shit they be doing.
Of crack babies and crack drug dealers.
So, but isn't it a decision to take drugs?
Oh, thank you. No, 100%.
So, and it's a decision to commit crimes.
Yes.
Okay, so the government didn't do that to them. People decided to take drugs.
And people say, oh, the government oppressed us and that's why we had to steal. There's a lot of people that are oppressed that don't choose, let me, kill somebody. Let me shoot somebody in my neighborhood and kill them. Let me, rape somebody. Like he said, it is a choice. And we could choose to fix our own problems and help our own community because they're not going to do it. If you really believe that they're racist against you and have some axe to grind with Black people, then we need to get it together. They're not going to do it. This argument makes no sense. Me personally, I don't feel like there's nobody that can stop me. Because I was not created to suffer. And I don't think I'm going to suffer, and I ain't suffering. I'm sorry. My grandparents came from the Jim Crow South. You understand? I just don't see it. I had a single mother growing up in the 70s and 80s. We always had a nice place to live. Because she probably just didn't want to live less than that. That's on you, what you tell your mind, what you put into your mind. That's why I say elevate your frequency. You have to be on a higher vibration in order to make it in life. I don't care how much education this girl gets. I don't know how far she's going to get being on this low frequency. I'm sorry.
That's true. But do you feel like these populations or these communities have, in statistics, been overly populated by police officers?
Well, so just you seem like a really sweet person. So I don't want to try to be too intense. So is that cool?
Go ahead.
What percentage of America is Black? 13%, right? What percentage of the murders in America are committed by Black people?
I don't know the specific statistics.
Guess. It's
50%.
It's 60%.
See, that's even more than I thought. So this is what my point is, that we have issues in our community that's bigger than white people and racism that nobody wants to talk about. And the thing that makes me so angry is how easily and how fast we raised $500,000 for Carmelo Anthony, but we can't raise that much money to make a school for our kids. We can't raise that much money to make a historical museum for our kids. We're sitting on here arguing and complaining. You know what I mean? We can raise $500,000 for Carmelo Anthony, but we can't raise that money to create jobs for our people. Y'all better stop playing with me, please.
So maybe when you do 60% of the killings and you're 13% of America, more cops should be around your neighborhoods.
Do you? But there is
But
no.
listen, the truth is the truth, no matter who delivers it. Black people don't want to hear that. But it is true. You will probably be murdered by another Black man. A Black man will be murdered by another Black man before he'll be murdered by the police. And that is just the facts. Now, we can deny it and act like we're delusional about it and never want to have the discussion, or we have the discussion and figure out what we can do to fix it. And I really feel it begins with taking that $500,000 that y'all raised for Carmelo Anthony and creating jobs for our young men. Creating outreach in schools for our young men that don't get it in this whack ass school system that y'all worried about them dismantling. Stop it.
Oh, there's no cops, and there's not an equal number of cops in the white suburban neighborhoods.
Because
in the
there's
same
not as much
neighborhood,
murder.
the same neighborhoods that are controlling the coke. Like they have cocaine in their houses, but it's not treated the same.
And this is okay, Gigi, because it really is flushing out our different worldviews. You look at cops as if they're there to catch you and get you. We look at cops as they're there to protect and serve and help us.
And that's only because in this country, I mean, police used to be able to drag Black people out in the streets and hose them down and sick dogs.
Used to. Okay. That is not right now. Right now, she's one of the only Black people at a university full of white people. Look at it. She's there. I look at all these race mongering, news anchors and all of these political analysts on TV talking about how racist, but you're sitting on a white-owned network in a panel of white people getting a check to sit up there and say white people are evil. How bad can it really be for you? Like, make this make sense. I really just make these videos for us to elevate our frequency. Somebody like this is not going to help us elevate our frequency. We have to be realistic about the problems that we face and correct them. And we're not doing that. And we haven't been doing that for decades. And for some reason, Black people think that white people are going to save them. You don't like white people when you say that white people are racist against you, but you think they're going to come and save you somehow. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I can't say enough times, if people come out of slavery with nothing and build themselves up so good that the white people get jealous and blow their houses up and blow them out and destroy their businesses, what is wrong with you today when you have every opportunity in front of you? That is the mentality that is a low frequency mentality, and that we have to get rid of that and stop raising your kids to think that. Because the only thing that's going to get in your way is you. I don't want to suffer, so I'm not going to. Because there's too many opportunities in this country. She's sitting at a university, getting an education, talking about somebody's holding her back. Now I could see if this was 60, 100 years ago, but it's not.
Them and tear them apart, and we never really had the conversation that where do we get away from that?
Definitely had the conversation.
Like,
after George Floyd, the whole country blew up under the conversation. Okay.
Yes, but it was a big standing on, should cops be able to do this? It's almost as if when a black person,
should black people be able to kill each other? No. Should black women be able to abort their babies more than anybody? No. I mean, can we focus on what the real problem is? You understand? And nobody wants to focus on the fact that, you know, he was a drug addict, he was on fentanyl, or whatever the case may be. You know, we get behind people like this instead of getting behind the doctors in our society, the engineers, the lawyers, the people that are doing righteous shit. We raise money for a boy that stabbed another boy, regardless if it was self-defense or not. What the fuck? 500 grand could have did a lot in our community. And we raised that money relatively fast. Can you imagine if we would raise a few million, billion? We could have our own nation. But people are stuck in the plantation of shit from 400 years ago. I don't get it.
When a black person is murdered by police or at the hands of the police, the gun, bullet that came from a police officer's registered
on average,
gun.
how many times a year would you say a black person killed by police?
I mean, at one point it was happening
Unarmed.
at least, okay, if it was happening at least last year, it was going on about,
I don't know.
It was at least a month that it was a major case. But in terms of the average city, I don't know the average city.
Right?
I know though, but
so
in terms of what actually makes it to major media, because
it's the Washington Post's own database, left wing, 10 black individuals a year. So here's my contention.
And the police kill white people too. I saw one where the police shot the white boy up in the car, but they don't ever tell them stories because they want everybody to be so racially divided. Because I really feel like this country is us against them, the crooked politicians and globalists. And the sooner that we stop being divided over dumb shit that's really not an issue, the better off we'll be.
So you have a population that dads are not around, that is very, very murderous per population capita, that is very violent, more likely to be involved in gangs.
Listen, these are statistics that we don't want to hear, especially coming from a white man. But the truth is the truth, no matter who delivers it. This is facts. We all know this about our community. Yet we want to be delusional and not deal with it and not try to correct the problem. Thus, here we are with somebody like that standing up there acting like she's being oppressed when we're doing it to ourselves. Look how many people come from abroad with nothing and come here and make opportunities for themselves and just pass us. Their mentality is not the mentality that we have here.
And we, you know, as conservatives look at that and we say, wait a second, like the problem is within the community. The problem is not the government. The problem is not the culture. The problem is not the history. Instead, really what needs to happen is black leadership, black pastors, and black dads need to go into the black community and say, we're better than this. Cut the killing, cut the violence. You know, do you know the...
I agree. I'm sorry. The man is right. I agree. There's nothing racist of what he's saying. When Candace Owens said this, everybody attacked her, but she's right. She's right. How long are we going to keep making this excuse? And what can we do to correct the problem? Carmelo Anthony just showed that the community can unite and create funds and money and funding for things. But the things that I would think is important, like schools and jobs for our kids, nobody wants to collect for that. We waste billions of dollars every year in hair care products alone. making another culture rich. But we can't take that money and build something for ourselves. It's our mentality. I don't care what nobody say. He's not the only person to say. He's a white guy saying this, so y'all gonna be mad about it. But everybody says this. Any leader with any like truth about them, any leader that give a damn about the community at all has told us this.
One more point.
Go ahead.
Who is outside of heart disease and all that? What is the number one killer of Black people in America?
I know about like diabetes, but
fellow Black people.
Child.
A Black person is far more likely to be killed by another Black person than anything else. Black people are a greater threat to their own people.
Listen, we are our own worst enemy, and we see it. We see how Black men and women treat each other. We see how, how many single mothers are out here. We see how bad men talk about the single mothers. Okay, the women are left alone and they're doing their best and they struggle. And, it can be very difficult to raise a child alone and they don't get the support. Y'all sitting up here hollering about a museum and, the Tuskegee Airmen, but you collected $500,000 for Carmelo Anthony when that could have been the money right there. And create jobs by opening up a facility like that. Y'all need to stop it. And this is something, if we're going to elevate our frequency, if we could tackle this would be the biggest elevation that there could be. I was watching a video how Africans, when they come to this country, they tell their people not to interact with the Americans because they feel that they're beneath them. But Black people get so in their feelings when anybody tries to have this discussion, but we have to stop that if we're going to correct it.
Than any other community. So it's not like white supremacists coming into these communities and they're mowing down. It's Black on Black gang violence.
But that's not okay. I just like to go back to something that you said earlier about.
Now she's going to deflect and try to go back to something else he's saying. Can we deal with that issue head on? Because we talk about the prison industrial complex, but a lot of the people in there really are committing crimes that end up in there. There's a small amount of people that's in there, that rightfully don't belong up in there. Now they might want to blame society and all these different things, and I don't necessarily think it's the whole society. I think it's our community that's the problem. We haven't been slaves in 400 years, but the mentality still exists. It has to be broken. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing to get in your way. It's nothing stopping you. If you have that mentality, you're stopping yourself and you're getting in your own way.
Like how it has nothing to do with the government. The history of Black people in this country has everything to do with the government. At one point, the government allowed and pushed.
Listen, it don't have to have nothing to do with the government, because if we could pull our money together, just like Marcus Garvey said, we wouldn't need this government. We could be our own sovereign nation separate from them completely, like the Moors, whoever. We don't need to be a part of this government, but we need it.
And raised for slavery. That was something that this government did. They made laws in the improvement of segregation. So in terms of the long history.
Okay, but she's sitting up there debating. But segregation, Democrats did that. The Republican Party was the one that fought to end segregation. These are the dumbass things that we don't know or understand. And it's like you're on the side of the actual oppressor, and you don't even know it. And you look like a damn fool to people like me to know better.
Can't take out the fact that government has played a major institution.
Of course, government plays a role. But let's take you, Gigi. How did government? You gotta move over, man. You're blocking their view. Can you please move?
No, I'm good right here. I'm not disrupting anything.
You are. They can't see. You're blocking people. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but Gigi, let me. Yeah. All right.
Somebody with a
Gigi,
rainbow
let me
flag
ask
is
you a
blocking
question.
everybody
Go
from
ahead.
being able to see.
How did that legacy of slavery prevent you from getting to this school and having a great career?
I think that, okay, I'm sorry, I got kind of distracted. Can you
That's
please
okay.
restate your
So,
question?
Gigi, what I'm trying to do right now, I'm going to give you a warning, is prove that your own life experience is actually at odds with some of the things you're saying. Is that cool? So here you are at the University of Tennessee, correct? You're a student.
Yes.
You have the whole world as your oyster in front of you. You could study hard. You're going to graduate. You're going to do better than most people in probably the community you came from. Just guessing. I don't know your background, but based on how you're talking. How did the legacy of slavery get in your way?
I will say the legacy of slavery got in my way in the way that I am not a legacy child here. I would say that it got in my way in the way that my parents, my grandparents were not afforded the same. We're not at one
He's
point.
asking her how it affects her. Her right now in 2025, how it affecting her right now in living her best life.
Even allowed to be on the property of this school. I think that is one of the things that has gotten into this way.
But you're here. It didn't get in the way. So here's the attitude I want you to
This is
adopt.
what I be saying. Liberal people wear me out sometimes. And this is a kid, so I'm going to give her a pass. But adults be like this. And you just be weary talking to them sometimes. That's why I say he have a lot of patience to go through this. Because I would have been got up and went home. It's too much.
Gigi, and I'll close with this. Instead of just looking at everything in the past that's wrong and bad through a victim lens, say, you know what?
It's still going on. Okay.
One sec. Say, you know what? I'm an American, and I'm going to use my mental energy to say, despite all of that, I get to succeed and flourish and prosper as a Black American at the University of Tennessee. You are a living embodiment.
Listen, I ain't about to be no victim. I'm telling you, you're going to be the victim if you try to get in my way of me enjoying my life and exercising my God-given rights. Okay? Please. Nobody can make me do a damn thing I don't want to do. You understand? I'd rather die than be a slave. I'd rather die here than not live my best life. Period. You understand? So it's just how you think. I don't think that anybody's going to stop me. It never occurs to me. My friends always ask me, oh, you're not worried about not working. Oh, you're not worried about not working. You didn't take the shot. Oh. And I'm like, no. Aside from you sitting here projecting your worries onto me, I'm not thinking about suffering. I ain't suffering. I'm living good. I'm eating still. I'm doing, my landlord might not have got their rent. Maybe they're suffering, but I'm not. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just how you think. And when you're on a high frequency, you deserve better. I see people come from nothing and make millions and just with a good idea and some hard work. I feel like this girl is sad because she's already feeling defeated before she starts, and she doesn't realize how much power she really has. And how much your ancestors have set you up divinely to never go through what they're going through. If you think you're so oppressed, do something to change
it. Gigi, that you can still succeed as a Black individual.
I would just disagree from the simple fact that I feel like there are a lot of barriers. There's a lot of obstacles.
She still thinks she can't do it. You understand? She doesn't think she can do it. So if she doesn't think she can do it, she can't do it. I tell my son all the time, you can do anything you want to do. You manifest that shit. You understand? You project your divine energy and you manifest what you want for your life. You know what I mean? Don't focus on what's wrong. Focus on what's right. I focus on what's going right all the time. And I'm always in a state of gratitude for what I do have. I don't see any of that. Because I guarantee if you keep telling yourself you're going to fail, you're going to fail. If you keep telling yourself all these obstacles are going to be in your way, they're going to be in your way. But if you could elevate your frequency above those thoughts, you're going to see a pathway is going to be clear right for you. Everything that you deserve in life already exists for you. Your ancestors already want it for you. God, whatever you want to say, already want that for you. You just have to believe it do the work, and elevate to the frequency that it's on.
There's a lot of prejudice just in somebody might look at me and not even assume that I could
How
even
do you
get
know
into
what they're
the
thinking?
universe.
Listen,
I'm
I
not-
can't listen to this girl no more because it's negative. No matter what he's telling her, as far as that she could be a success in life, she don't believe it. So she's not going to believe it. And the prison's full of people like that. You know, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's not happening for me right away. You know, it ain't never going to happen. I want it tomorrow and I didn't get it. So let me go commit a crime instead. You know, people don't live in it, don't have gratitude for the things they have. You know, and I always say, what you have, there's somebody that doesn't have what you have, and we'll be thankful to God to have what you have. You got to focus on what is good and work off what is good in your life and the people that are good in your life. And then if you really feel that there's a problem that needs to be corrected, do something about it. Everybody in our own little way, if we work on ourselves, the whole world will be a better place. Instead of sitting there talking about what this person's going to do, what this person. And to me, I feel like when you projecting all those negative instances on your life, they're going to happen. You know, you have to feel that you're worthy of the life you choose to live, that you want to live. And if you don't think you're worthy, the universe sure ain't. Your ancestors are not going to work to get you blessed just for you to fuck it up. Child.